All right, here we are. Inside the Eagles bus.
Woo!
It's like college game day.
It is.
And I'm gonna wear my hat and sunglasses in respect for Coach Prime, who yesterday apparently they talked trash. The Colorado State coach gave him bulletin board material and said, when I talk to other adults, I take my hat and sunglasses off. So look for Colorado State to get hammered tomorrow.
Aww.
But anyway, here we are in the Eagles bus with the owner of the Eagles bus, Christina. And before we get too far in this, and I forget about this, I got a gift for you.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Now this is 52 years old.
Wow.
And it's been in a closet
Okay.
since I was a kid.
Right.
It's actually been on eBay once or twice, but nobody bid on it.
Aww.
So I'm donating it to you.
Okay.
It is, back in the 1971, the Eagles used to do training camp at Albright College.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And when I was younger, well, I would have been about 10, we went there. And we got almost all the Eagles autographs
Oh
from
my
1971.
gosh.
And there are some, like you can read some of them. There's Harold Carmichael's on there. There's Steve Zabel. There's Carmichael.
Ben Hawkins.
Pete Lisk.
Bob.
Harold Jackson's down here.
Steve Smith. That looks like a Steve Smith. Jim Ettinger.
I don't know that. I looked. I don't think Roman Gabriel's on it, but there's
Carmichael.
Yeah, Ike Kelly.
Oh my gosh!
So you can laminate it. You can do whatever you want. It is now
and
part
put
of your
it
bus.
up here with the other autographs. Oh my gosh! Thank you so much. This is so awesome. I am like.
I thought it's either donated to the Eagles bus or it spends another 50 years in my closet.
This is so awesome. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how much this means to me. Oh.
Well, apparently way more than it ever meant to me.
Oh.
Move from house to house.
It's a little wrinkly because
but it's oh my gosh, this is so. I can't wait to tell everybody. I'm going to call my mom.
Well, anyway.
Oh gosh.
So we got that out of the way.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Okay.
So
all right, let me come back to you. Okay.
All right. So you bought this bus a couple years ago.
Yeah. So actually, the end of September will mark officially 2 years since I've been the owner.
Oh, is that it? I thought it was.
No. Yeah. I'm
okay.
still in the newlywed period.
Yeah. Now, did you know this bus existed before you went look? Okay, so you just saw it on a whim.
Yeah. So I belong to like 4 different like Eagles fan pages on Facebook. And one night I just came home from work, couldn't sleep, and what do? You're on Facebook looking through your news feed. And one of the groups popped up and this guy advertised selling this bus. And I was like, let me just click, be nosy, and I read everything about it and saw the price, and he included the TV, the generator, where on the benches underneath where Kelly is a power inverter. So, but it's dead from last night's game, or we could have plugged it in. And so it came with all the chairs in the back there for tailgating. It was already, I didn't even know it was autographed actually until I got there to look at the bus.
Okay.
And it was an amazing price. It had really low mileage. So it's a 1996 Chevrolet bus. It was a handicapped school bus because there is a side door on the back for 13 years, and then it had to retire. And a garage in Northeast Philadelphia by the Tacony Palmyra Bridge bought it, painted it green, took the seats out, put the benches along, and sold it. And this guy in Cinnaminson, New Jersey, bought the bus. Actually, it's kind of funny. Behind me, he has, speaking of the 70s, he's been a season ticket holder since 1979, and he gave me one of his pins that says I'm a season, not that I'm a, that was the year I was born, so I was definitely not,
the year I graduated.
so it definitely wasn't a season ticket holder since 79. And he gave me that. He still has season tickets in 2 different locations of the link. His uncle actually worked for the Eagles in public relations in the 70s. We still talk. I met him last year down there for a Reds Commanders game, and we got a picture in front of the bus. I actually was just texting with him this week to see if he was going to be down there yesterday. He's a super nice guy. If I have any questions, he still answers. So I saw this listing, and I texted my mom. I said, I'm going to get this bus. And she was like, you're crazy. And I think she just thought I was like talking crazy.
Yeah.
And then I talked to my boyfriend Bob about it, and I said, will you drive with me to Cinnamons, New Jersey? Because I knew my dad, if I asked my dad, he would have been like, you're not buying a bus. So Bob thought I was crazy. Everyone thought I was crazy. And people I worked with were like, don't do it, don't do it. I'm like, but this is like, something's telling me it's meant to be. This is a great price. So we drove one Sunday to Cinnamons, New Jersey. We checked out the bus. I walked on the bus, saw the autographs, and the guy didn't even have that advertised. And I started, what I did when you handed me that, oh my gosh, and I'm like, and I just knew, like, this is, and the guy he had a whole tailgate. The Eagles were away that game. He had friends there. He schmoozed us with beer, pepperoni bread. We sat outside. He had the whole bus set up as a tailgate, and he invited us to stay. And he gave us some time to talk, me and Bob looked at me and just said, you're crazy if you don't buy this, because if you don't, I am. And I just kind of looked at him and I said, no way, I'm buying it. But I had to play it cool with the guy, like, and so I was like, well, we're going to drive home back to Lancaster and think about this and blah, blah, blah. And then, I already knew. Yeah. Like, I pretty much knew. I mean, and I'm not, this bus cost me $4,800. Like, why? I thought if it lasted me a year, I knew it was older, but it had really low mileage. I thought, and it came with almost everything. It would just be a great time. $4,800. What? Yeah. And originally, at the time I bought it, I was the manager at the Ephrata Legion, where we are right now. Thank you to the Ephrata Legion for letting us park here and do the podcast. So, at the time, I just thought I'll have fun with it, and I did. And then it kind of just turned into a business, and it's been a year and a half since I've had the Cruisin With Christina, and I've done everything in here: bachelorette parties, birthday parties, bar crawls, you name it. And then I do get to use it for fun. Like last year, the Super Bowl, me and my sister drove around to party in it. We had the TV set up in the back, and I was driving, and I could watch the Super Bowl in the rearview mirror.
That's always safe.
Yeah, I mean, and it was raining, so.
But you also, now, when you first bought this, like you said, you bought it sort of to have fun with it, but it turned into your business. And by the looks of it, it's doing very well. You also, in addition to this bus, if you take a longer trip or have more people, you also now sort of sponsor with Elite.
I do Elite. So like next month I have a trip to Jim Thorpe, and so I rent the bus. Everyone always thinks I drive the coach. I do not drive the coach bus. I just drive the Eagles bus.
I gotta ask you before.
No, it's okay.
Speaking of driving. Before you bought this, did you ever drive anything? Not that this is gigantic,
no.
but I wouldn't want to drive this thing.
No. So one time my ex-husband and me, we got a couch and we rented a U-Haul. It was a big sectional, and I had to drive it home because he was tired and I was scared out of my mind. So that was like years ago, and that was the only time. And the funny thing is, so we left New Jersey the day we looked at it. And then I played it cool, like texted the guy 2 days later, yep, I'm going to buy it. And, we had to organize our schedules and the distance and then to go to the notary and all that stuff. So it took a couple weeks. It wasn't like I went there the next day. If I could have, I would have, but it didn't, And then I didn't want to drive it home because I never drove it and I was scared out of my mind. So actually...
So when you looked at it,
you
saw everything.
I didn't drive it. I didn't drive it. No, it was crazy.
It started.
It started. He let us start it, but
is it automatic or manual?
No, it's automatic. Okay. Yeah, it's diesel, so it is a little bit of expensive to drive it around. But so because he had the TV, in the behind here, there's a mount with the TV. He had it already set up when we got there, so I would have had to been on like a party pooper and had them all so I just but it sounded good when we started it. And the guy was really genuine. We spent like 2 hours with him. So I guess I was really going on a leap of faith too. So one of the regulars here at the time I was here working at the Legion, and a friend of mine, he's a truck driver, Delmar, and it was really hard to organize when we could meet and go to the notary and all this stuff. And it just worked. And Delmar offered to drive with me. Drove to the notary, met the guy, did all the paperwork, then drove to the guy's house to get the bus. Because I had to get insurance for it and everything. Now that was a little hard too, to find someone to insure it, but I found someone. And then I followed him home from Cinnamons to New Jersey in my minivan, and he drove it. And then I practiced actually in the Legion lot for like the first week. And I was scared out of my mind. But then, the practicing around the parking lot, it kind of worked. And then I did slowly. I didn't go on the highway right away. And now it's a piece of cake to me.
But I wouldn't want to be driving this.
It's a little difficult. I will say, like last night, we went down to Philadelphia for the game, and a lot of construction on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and those like cattle chutes.
They get tight.
That gets tight, especially when you have a big truck passing you, and this whoa. So you really have to That's the only thing I didn't like about driving it, or don't like, I should say. But otherwise, it's. I mean, I reverse good. I parallel parked it yesterday. I mean, sometimes with stuff in the back, I need help, guiding me. But otherwise, and it runs good. Now, it doesn't like hills, but it's a school bus. So I'll go back, And I get it up to about 70. I can do that if it's flat. Yeah. Otherwise, you gotta, putting in your travel time, you always have to allot a little bit extra because especially with people in it, I go about 60. So, you're not getting anywhere fast in this, especially if there's a lot of hills, but it gets you there.
Paul's he has a big camper.
Oh, okay.
So this one scared him.
Yeah.
I have enough trouble in my car. I gotta backing up. I don't parallel park. I'll drive 2 extra blocks so I don't have to. But so more power to you on that. So when you do the Elite, you rent the bus.
I rent the bus. I organize the trip.
So you go up to Elite and say, hey, I want to do this trip. Mm-hmm. Here, you give the money up front.
And I tell them the itinerary.
And you depend on ticket sales to pay you back. Right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So Jim Thorpe is sorry, that's my phone.
That's all right.
So
here's a stranger coming on the bus.
Here's a stranger.
Hey,
Michael.
We can.
Could you hit red or cancel the phone call? Sorry, I guess it's someone wanting to book a trip. No
doubt. Are you open 24/7?
I am. People call me all times of the day.
We can thank Michael for.
Michael, he was on the bus last night.
He was on the bus. Michael was on the bus last night. Today. And he's still alive, so I do well with that. And thank you to the Legion.
Yeah. He's the reason we're where we are today.
Yeah. So, Jim Thorpe. So, I organize the trips. And so, with Jim Thorpe, we're doing 3 different tours. The Old Jail Museum, a museum in Jim Thorpe that tells you the history of the town, and then we're doing the Jim Thorpe trolley. So people can sign up and do that part of the trip with 3 tours, and then you get free time to go shopping and lunch, or you can just go on the bus and do your own thing. But it's sold out, and everybody has signed up to do the tours. Wow. So I did one last year, but it was with a smaller group. But this sold out really fast, and I actually have people wanting to get me to get another bus because they want to go on the trip. But these companies book up so fast that you have to book out months and months in advance. And then I have a New York City trip where we go up there. I did that last year. Took some people on a tour of Central Park. So I try to organize the whole thing, give people tips where to go, see things, and they don't have to stick with me. They can go off and do their own thing, and I try to give them an option.
Just be back at the bus.
Just be back at the bus, And then I always I try to make it an experience, these trips on the coach bus.
Right.
So I try to find things for people to do for where we're going to go, and then I provide refreshments, water, soda, snacks. So you're not just getting on the bus and you're on your own. It's more than just transportation. I try to create an experience.
A fun while you're on the bus in addition to...
And some hospitality at the same time.
And it's kind of set up that way. The seats are you're facing so you can talk back and forth.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people like that part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's good.
And then in New York City, when I did the New York City trip last year on the coach bus, I brought Christmas movies. So we watched Christmas movies on the way up. We watched Christmas movies on the way back. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's neat.
Mm-hmm.
Very unique business, and wow, you get to go to a lot of cool places.
I do. And I mean, last year when the Phillies were in the World Series, they were at home 4 times, one because of a rain delay and they canceled the game. But 3 out of the 4, I drove people down on the bus. Some of them actually had World Series tickets. Okay. So I got to hear about their experiences on the way back. That was a lot of fun. I'll never forget that, the Phillies. Yeah. And last year I got to go to a Notre Dame game. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. And so Notre Dame and Navy played in Baltimore. I took a full bus down there with Notre Dame fans, which are kind of hard to find in this area. So I was kind of just loving it all. We went to the game, and that was a great experience. So, like, I've made a lot of memories. Not all trips are fun and easy. Some of them are like, that's a part of the job.
I mean, well, yeah, at the end of the day, if there's somebody has a bitch, they're coming to you.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you're just not on the bus having fun, too.
Yeah.
You're basically, even though they can go do what they want, at the end of the day, you're in charge.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
I mean, it's part of the job. It's part of the business. It's not all fun. And like New York City last year, you know, people calling me, asking me questions. And I mean, that's part of my job. I brought them there. And
you're sort of like a traveling travel agent.
Yeah. And, you know, there's been people on this where, you know, more so last year driving down and, you know, man, we got to get there. You know, the bus only goes so fast and I can't control traffic.
Right.
You know, traffic can be, you know. And so, I mean, yeah, I've had some issues, but I would say overall my experience with everything has been very well.
Well, and the longer you do it, I would say as long as the bus holds up, the easier it should get. Because, you know, especially if you're going back, like, next year, if you go back to Jim Thorpe, you know better what's going to happen, where to go, and all that. You know, so it's learning, but the longer you do it, the easier it'll get. Yeah, and I'm making relationships with people. Like, I did the gym trolley last year and the jail museum last year, and it was a really big hit with the people that went last year. So I emailed them, and they remembered me. Oh, yeah, and I'm like, well, this time I'm over 40 people now. Okay, we'll make it work, and it's a busy time of year, going October 14th in Jim Thorpe. But so I'm making connections everywhere I kind of go, and that's a part of the business too. Right, but then that makes it easier.
So as much as you're set up for the theme of Eagles, you do much more than sporting events.
I do.
Like you just said, Jim Thorpe in New York. So what else do you do that you...
So I'm actually going out to Cleveland next weekend for a wedding, and I'm taking an extra day out there to put together a trip for next year on a coach bus, not the Eagles bus, to go see the Football Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame out there, and just see what else. Like, I know they're Italian, not village, but like their Italian neighborhood down there is really big with bakeries. So I'm going to put together a trip, and I'm going to go do research and go to this wedding next weekend. Double dip.
Well, the nice thing is you can go to this wedding and write your expenses off as a business.
I mean, that's exactly.
You're going to get a lot of information on what's there and what you can do, and is it worth a trip to go there?
Exactly. I want to expand more into the coach buses. That's kind of like on my business plan. But, you know, I had surgery earlier this year, and that took me out for a little bit longer than I thought. And then my dad was sick, and he passed last month. So this year has been a little rough. So my business plan, where I wanted to be at, I'm not really at, but it's okay. You know, it will all work out.
Yeah, the coach bus would be like going on them longer trips. Like if somebody's got to take a leak on the Eagles bus, where do you take a leak?
Well, we stopped.
That would be a concern.
I know.
Well,
so
that's one of them things.
Especially if you're somewhere and you're drinking and like 5 minutes after I got in for the ride home, I'm going to have to take a leak. Where do we go?
Well, the good thing is you've been down that road before, so you know where the bathrooms are. You know.
I know where the stops are.
Yeah, you know, like okay.
So you're
5 miles down the road. We're ready to go. You know.
So you're not opposed to like if you're coming back the turnpike pulling into a rest stop.
No, I've done that. No, I'll do that. I will stop. I'd rather stop and not have to clean up a mess.
Yeah, exactly.
I've stopped on the side of the turnpike for people just to get out on the woods, because, you know, when people are drinking a lot and you're on your way back from somewhere, sometimes, you know, they just kind of tell you, well, you got to stop now. Whoa, are you okay with this? I do always carry hand sanitizer on the bus and a roll of toilet paper. Well, plus, you never know. Even like yesterday, at the end of the game, you don't know what those porta potties are going to look like. So you always need to be prepared. And I have, now not with people I don't know, but when I have had friends on the bus, we have brought a blanket and a bucket, and the girls have held up the blankets, and you know, and it's worked out, and then we just, you know, dump it in the grass.
So there you have it.
What you gotta do.
If you gotta go on the Eagles bus,
I've done it. I've seen it all, but I do like the coach buses because the bathroom's on the back, and
that is much handier. Really. I mean, this for bar crawls around the area, maybe, but Yeah.
I've done that a lot.
Yeah.
People have run at me just to do bar crawls for the heck of it, like a group of friends getting together to have fun. And then I've also done, birthday parties and stuff like that. So.
Whoa.
Hi, how are you?
Right.
As everybody's on the bus, this is great. We can sit here all day and be like, hi.
It's like college game day.
Yeah.
So, sort of your past history as far as like, did you grow up in Lancaster?
No, I grew up in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I
that's okay. I'm a Philly girl.
I do know that. I don't even know why I asked that. But for the viewer's sake, so you're from Philly.
I'm from Philadelphia. I was born and raised in Northeast Philly. Went to high school down there and everything. And then my dad.
What high school did you go to?
Archbishop Bryan. I'm an Irish Catholic girl, Notre Dame. Yeah. Yep, that's where it came from. My dad worked for RCA in Deptford, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
It was also known as Thompson Consumer Electronics. RCA had a huge plant in Burl Industries in Lancaster.
Right.
And my dad got offered a job, and I cried. And no, I'm not moving to Lancaster. I'm staying in Philly. And
how old were you at this point?
It was the summer before my senior year of high school.
Well, that's tough to change at that point. Yeah, I get that.
I was like, I'm not going. And so my parents, they gave me the best gift ever. And I stayed in Philly and lived with my grandma and finished high school. Yeah. And my parents and my younger siblings, I'm the oldest, they all moved up here. And they would come visit me like every other weekend. I lived with my grandma and my younger uncle and aunt. And my senior year of high school was really awesome.
You didn't have to answer to nobody.
No, it was great. It was like I really got my independence then. And then my dad said, you have to come to Lancaster now. And I was still 17, and I kind of had to listen. And I really wanted to stay in Philly and go to school at like Temple or LaSalle. But I moved to Lancaster, went to Kutztown, and then I had transferred later on to Millersville.
All right.
So that's my story. And then, I fell in love, got married, and had kids, and never left Lancaster County.
So you know Philly then.
I know Philly.
Is a big
well, if you're driving down.
Yeah. And all my family, so like nobody else ever moved to Lancaster. So I was here since the summer of '97. My grandparents were still down there, my cousins, my aunts, uncles, friends I made. So like any chance I had, I was always in Philly. And now, I mean, some of them are deceased now, but any chance I have, I'm in Philly. It's not as much as it used to be, but, some of that's because my grandparents aren't around anymore. Right. But yeah, I still have a lot of connections down there, family down there, and actually my brother moved back and lived down there.
Oh, okay.
He lives there, so yeah.
So you're active several times a month, I would assume, that you're doing trips.
I would say more so when the Eagles and Phillies are in session. Okay. Yeah, I did a Sixers game last year. I don't feel like there's a lot of Sixers fans around here, so like going back to the business, it's kind of like a learning thing. Yeah. Don't think I'll do the Sixers again. I do have a big Flyers trip coming up. And so, I did private charters to Flyers games, but I would say I'm down there a good amount starting now until the end of the football season. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So two things come to mind. Number one is, how do people look to see where they can go and what you're up to, and where is typically the pick up and drop off, like where they park, and then how far is it? Are they all day trips? Is there overnight trips? Is it
right? So I've only done one overnight trip, and so I'm working on building the courage to expand that part of the business. Like doing Cleveland, obviously that wouldn't be a day trip. Right. We would be spending probably like 2 nights there. Private chart. So private charters. It depends on the person. Usually when you rent me just as a private charter, I will come to your house, or I'll do several pickup locations, and then I create an estimate and give them to see what their needs are and everything. An Eagles trip like this, I did yesterday, where it's open to the public and anyone can go. Lancaster Shopping Center, where the AC Moore used to be. Elite has a section of that on the Oregon Pike side, and so your cars are pretty much safe there. And I did tell Elite, because I work with them on my other trips, and they kind of know I use that. And then I always use Effort at Walmart, and I just picked that because it's close to the highway. Right. 222 is right there, and then you don't have to deal with all the traffic on 322. Plus, Walmart allows you to park there, and if you do overnight, you just have to ask them. So that I feel are the two main things. Lancaster Shopping Center is so close to Route 30. Like yesterday, we went to Sheetz. This is the last rest. Like, get your stuff, whatever you need, and we're hitting the highway. But if someone really needs picked up at their house, or obviously we get back and someone is still that like intoxicated, I would drive them home. And I've offered that service and tell people that. And, that would be, I'd rather someone get home safe.
Right.
And they'd be, oh, it's another $20, to drive you home. So, yeah. So it depends on the kind of trip it is. But usually for public trips on the Eagles bus or coach trips, it's Lancaster Shopping Center or the Ephrata Walmart.
And that's nice that if they want to drink
right.
Alcohol, they can, and they don't have to worry about driving.
Yeah.
They don't have to. And
that's one of the nice things about this. So if you had a group of friends and you want to go out and celebrate Joe's 50th birthday and you want to do it safely, that's another great thing about this bus. So bachelorette parties, I've done a couple of them. I've done a couple of weddings where I did one last month where I picked them up after the reception, and the big thing now is like after parties after the wedding. Everyone wants to go party. I pick them up after the reception, drive them to their after party, drive them home. Yeah. Yeah, I've done a couple of those too.
On those occasions, obviously when you go to the Eagles, you're at the Eagles, you're having fun too, but when you take them after parties to wherever they go, what do you do for the hour or two or three?
Yeah.
Just hang out.
I do. So I'll give you what I did last month for the wedding. They invited me to go in, and I don't think people realize, people are so nice to me, I will say that, but you're on another level. I'm not at your level. And to sit at a bar on Saturday night at midnight and you're totally sober, which is fine, but it's like, I'd rather sit on the bus, be on my phone doing stuff for my business, because that's something I could do 24/7 research or whatever, make a poster to put on Facebook, take a nap. So I took their invitation, I went inside, they got me some food, and I sat there and talked to some people, and I try to network and talk to people, because people are always asking me about the business, blah blah blah. And then I kind of just was like, I'm gonna go wait on the bus for a little bit, and that's what I did, because it was a long night, so I just hang out on my bus. I've done that at Eagles games actually last night, and I can't believe I'm saying this. During the game, I was so exhausted because I was tired. I was up at 7:30, and that's another aspect. It is a lot of work, but let me finish this one story. So I took a nap on my bus during the end of the third quarter, early of the fourth quarter. I woke up, but when we're tailgating down there, we park where you can, if you don't go to the game, you can keep the party going the whole time, and they let you do that. And everybody has it on the radio, the TV. I could lay on my bus last night, and I didn't have to watch the game. I could hear Merrill Reese on the radio, because there's DJs down there, and they have it all out. And last year, I slept during half of the Steelers game because I was so tired, because I worked the night before at my regular job, and that was a 1 o'clock game. So I know that's like, I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but I've slept on my bus. Not overnight, but
but if you were the only, you could if you needed to.
Right, and last night I didn't get home till after 3 a.m. after dropping everybody off. So I'm driving people home. I'd rather be awake and take a nap and then be nodding off.
While you're driving. Because it is a responsibility, really a big responsibility.
It is a big responsibility.
So how do they see what you're up to and where you're going and what options?
Oh, right. So I have a Facebook business page, Cruisin With Christina, so there's no G at the end. And I have a business Instagram page. I have an email, cruisinwithchristina19@gmail.com. The one thing I don't have is a website yet. And that's something on my business plan that I need to work on. And I have looked into it. So I'm working on a website, and I do flyers, and people that aren't on social media that I know, I send them flyers, and I've printed them out, and I have one lady friend that has taken them where she works and pinned them up. My friend in Philadelphia has put signs up on the bulletin board at work. So it's kind of like a mix of stuff. Right. But social media, I really lay heavily on for my advertising.
It's free. That's free. With my trivia. It's the easiest way to get the whole world potentially looking at it without paying a penny.
Right. I know, but not everybody's on it.
Well, no, and I always just assumed that, everybody and their brother is on Facebook, but I found out that it isn't as popular as you think it might be.
No, it's not. And a lot of the older people, they aren't on it. And so, but I do have a lot of older people that are on it, and then they tell their friends. So a lot of it's word of mouth too.
Have you ever gone to some of these retirement communities like Ephrata Manor or Keystoneville or Luther Acres or something, and maybe tried to arrange And I don't see them people coming on the Eagles bus,
Right.
but for some of them might.
Maybe.
But
That'd be a good
some of them
time.
might, but,
Yeah.
but like your coach bus trips, like
Right.
advertising, for a group of senior citizens.
No,
to do.
yeah. I've thought of that too, and then I guess that would be more research and something that's like on my business plan, because I don't,
There's
it would
more
be,
to it than
there's a little bit more to it, and I don't know how all the, like, some of them work, like, are they all allowed to leave? We'd have to find a place, like, where people can live independently. Like my son,
a lot of the like Luther Acres, and they do have cottages where people, they got their foot in the door as they progress through the
Right.
But basically, they just own a little house and can come and go whenever they want.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea, and I have kind of thought of that. So that is something to like
And a
look
lot of
into.
them, the thing is, a lot of them, even though probably a lot of them still do drive, they probably don't like the idea of having to drive to Jim Thorpe or something.
Right, and a lot of them, I think, are looking for something to do because they're bored.
Yeah.
Well, the only experience that I've had on the job with a bus with a violation of the law or something really weird, was 0 dark 30. There's this big bus that's cruising around Ephrata, like on the back streets. In some of the residential areas, like, what is this bus doing? Like, why are you... So I ended up stopping it down near, the Walmart.
For those that don't know, Paul is a cop. He's just not a citizen stopping buses.
We stopped it. As I'm talking to the driver, my partner does a circle, because we always did pairs that time of night. He walks around, and he's standing at the front looking in the main window, and he's like, come here. And I walk up to the front, and here there's lights flashing, there's poles, there's girls dancing, and what the heck is happening here? And here this guy was taking people home, and they probably didn't remember exactly
where they had to go. Or they're not good at going.
So it all made sense in the end.
That is was it a school bus, like a yellow school bus?
No.
Oh, okay.
This was
it was like a Madden Cruiser.
It was huge, just huge things on these back roads.
Wow.
There were these residential roads, and it just, what are you doing and why? And it all made sense in the end. All
that is so funny.
You have yourself a great night. Good luck. That was my only experience of any issues really with the bus.
Wow.
So when people go down to the Eagles and the Phillies, like you said, not everybody goes to the game.
No.
When you're basically providing refreshments, food, the trip down, but you typically are not in charge of
getting their
tickets. It's up to them to have the ticket, whether they want to go or not.
So I have a Phillies game coming up where there are tickets, because that's one of the things I've been learning with the business. Everyone's like, well, do you have tickets? Do you have tickets? So I'm trying to start to incorporate that. So my Flyers trip coming up January 8th, they're playing the Pittsburgh Penguins, because there's a lot of Pittsburgh fans in this area. So I thought that'd be a cool trip to take people down there to see them play the Flyers. And that trip is tickets, and I worked it out with the Flyers where it's like all-inclusive. So from the time the doors open to the end of the second period, we have an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of, it's not totally private, but it's like for groups, and it'll be right by our seats, and an open bar for like domestic beer, domestic wine, beer, or soda, water. So I'm working into doing that so that when they have an experience, they're not just getting their ticket, now they're getting now like a buffet.
Almost be VIP kind of thing,
Yeah, and then there's a Phillies game I'm doing in September, actually the end of this month, and it's with the Pirates, and that I got the tickets. So I'm working on that, but for Eagles, like, that's hard to do. But I do get people saying, do you have tickets? I'm like, I wish
to get
a
group all together in a section would be almost impossible.
It would be almost impossible. And last year, that's, this story, and I wish I would have taken the guy's phone number or the time. So it was the preseason game, and I took my 2 younger sons and their friends down, and my uncle who lives in Philly met us. We had a tailgate. I'm grilling burgers. I have all these teenagers that I'm trying to like, what are you guys doing? And this older gentleman walks over, and he's checking out the bus. And he's like, hey, I think his name is Gary. I want to say Gary. And he's talking to me, and he goes, what do you do with this? Or blah, blah, blah. So I'm talking to him, but I'm like, I'm trying to watch the burgers, the hot dogs, the kids. And he's like, he had his own business, and he rented a coach bus, kind of like this, but he took all the people to the Eagles game, and he had like 30 tickets. And I was like intrigued, but at the same time, I'm like, wait, I got food on the grill. And I said, well, my magnet's on the bus. Take my information and call me because he was like, I'm, looking to retire. Would you be interested? I wish I would have let those burgers burn. And that was so stupid on my part because the guy never called me, and I don't know how I would ever
find who he is.
No, that was dumb. I should have not given, the food could have burned, the kids would have been fine, and that was dumb on my part.
Did he have a bus too?
No, but he just rented. He had tickets and organized to bring people there.
I was going to say, if he had a bus and tickets, you could start a fleet.
I know, but I think
franchise.
That would have been awesome. Well, I'm thinking, I will put this out there. I am thinking about what are the chances of me finding another Eagles bus for sale? But I am looking into buying another bus of some kind, and I have been looking and doing some research. And I'm trying to figure out what I would do, like would I decorate it all Philly sports, or would I just paint it one color, and that would be the bus where people because there are some people who are like, I don't want to get on this bus.
Right.
Patriots
I think one Eagle Philly bus is probably enough. The other bus I would probably just have it for the general public bus.
Right, like the guy driving around with the poles and everything. Yeah, people have said, when are you going to get a stripper pole in here, a dancing pole? And I'm like, I don't, maybe that's for the other bus.
You could paint the other one like the Partridge Family or something like that. You take it to concerts and
that would be fun. I'm thinking about it because I have turned business away. People who have wanted to rent me, and I'm already rented out. And it's been happening more and more, which is a good thing, but I see the need out there that people want to get groups of people together and go places and not just sit around.
And not have to drive.
And that's the biggest thing. And, I think it would be cool to have, and plus, this is a short bus, and so it depends on the event how many people I can get in here. More than 12 I don't ever do. I don't have enough seatbelts. There are seatbelts on the bus. I do tell everybody that, but nobody ever uses them. But so if I could get a bus where I could put more people on it, I think that would be a really good thing. So it's kind of in the works. I have been researching. I have not gone to look at anything yet. I don't want to put more on my plate right now.
Years into it. That's a year and a half.
Then you almost have to have drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And then responsible drivers. Mm-hmm. And the bigger anything gets, the harder it is to find quality people.
Yeah.
So there's a fine line between growing and getting too big.
Right. No, and I'm starting to have that little bit of a problem. So like October I had the Jim Thorpe trip. And then, I had someone who wants to rent this. They're a repeat client for Penn State. Now, when I had my neck surgery, I couldn't drive for 3 months, and that wasn't a part of the plan. And I had things booked, and I wanted to honor that. So a friend of mine, her boyfriend drives truck for a living. He did a test run. I went on the trips with him. So he's actually going, I guess I can kind of call him my employee now. So he's going to be doing the Penn State trip the same day I'm in Jim Thorpe.
And that's ideal, really.
That's good.
So that's kind of exciting that technically we'll have people in Jim Thorpe that I'll be with, and then the Eagles bus will be doing a private Penn State tailgate party. But looking forward, it is a lot of work. So I have another job. So this business started out to be like, oh, fun, and now it is like a full-time job, and I love it, but it's a lot of work, and I'm like, man, I could really use like a secretary or something.
A booking agent.
A booking agent. Yesterday I was trying to get ready for the Eagles game, and this lady called me to book tickets for my New York trip, and I'm like in my kitchen trying to like get make sure I have everything, and I'm trying to multitask, and I'm booking for New York. I was down in Philly, and my business page was going off like crazy with people, inquiries. They were seeing my live videos down there. And I just kind of realized I have to, you call places, you don't get a call back right away. And I have to learn that they have to wait, or they have to realize I'm on a trip, and I have to focus on that trip.
I know, like when I get somebody wanting trip, like I try and like within a minute get back to them.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose it.
Right. That's exactly. I understand totally what you mean. I definitely do.
But then again, there's times where I could be double booked. But there again, finding ample responsible people to do a trivia one place
Yeah.
when I'm somewhere else, and there's, you know, I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to brag, but like if they're looking to hire me,
No, I totally understand.
and then somebody else shows up, are they going to be pissed?
Yep.
Or it's like booking the Beatles and then sending a cover band.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
No, that's a really good, a really good
now, when you
comparison.
do the ticket deals, like when you bought these Flyers Penguin tickets, you invested in the tickets yourself, not knowing whether you were going to sell one of them.
No.
So, but it's the cost of doing business.
It's the cost of doing business. I put a deposit down for myself for the tickets, and then a lot of the trips that require a deposit, I require people to put a deposit down if they're doing the tickets, just to protect, you know.
So you could at least get some of your money back if they didn't show.
Yeah, so there is a big investment. I don't think people realize that. Like, oh, you need a deposit? Yeah, because I've already, I mean, the Flyers tickets, I've already have a deposit down. The New York City trip coming up, they have an option going to the Radio City Music Hall. So I worked with a guy who works for Madison Square Garden who does all the tickets for radio. And I said, it's my first time. He talked me through it. So I got the least amount of tickets that I thought, because I didn't want to over...
Right, and have a bunch left over.
Because I kind of, the Sixers trip last year, that was a hit on the business, because I had tickets and it didn't all sell. And then I was trying to sell the tickets on StubHub and stuff.
I was going to say, you could just stand at your bus and scalp.
It's true, I could.
But as long as you're selling them at face value, I don't think that's an issue.
I'd rather not lose money and just, cover my... Yeah. So there is some investment involved, and I don't think people realize how much upkeep and maintenance there is on the bus itself. Because I know
because initially the bus had issues.
Yeah, it did have issues. It did, and I'm not going to lie, it had.
Well, now they're fixed, but
they're fixed. And I use Hoover Trucking, Hoover Truck. If anyone ever asks where I do my repairs, in Ephrata, they're great. And I've also used Calico Automotive, Mikey, but he's really busy sometimes. But he's worked on the bus too. I just got 2 brand new tires last week on the bus to get it ready for inspection, which is next month. Had it at Hoover in August, oil change, new air filter, new fuel filter. So, I mean, it's in the shop a couple times, and it's expensive. And
I would assume insurance. Calling people.
It's a commercial policy. So that's another expense. Registration on a bus is a lot more than your registration on a vehicle. It's diesel. So I always ask people, where are we going? Because I figure out the mileage. And I'm like, there's a diesel surcharge. Because I do that because mileage is different for every trip you do if you're renting me as a private charter. Plus, the price of diesel is like up and down. So people are like, I don't understand. But I'm like, it has to be a separate charge. There's no way I could just build that in because I would lose then. You know?
Yeah, you're not in business to lose money.
So when you take a rental car back, you're expected to have it full or they fill it.
Right.
I mean, that's...
And there's cleaning of the bus. I mean, my kids help me, shop vac, clean it all up, taking people's trash. At the end, I always provide trash bags. I always have paper towels on the bus just to be prepared. It's a lot of... People don't realize how much work it is. Now, I've been partnering up with a friend of mine, Jimmy, who does the food.
I saw that.
He was grilling, He does a great job with the catering. I work with him. He's been a bartender for years. And so, I mean, between me and him, we had hours. We did a trip last year. We're doing more trips this year to the Eagles. But it's a lot of work. And, I mean, getting all the stuff on the bus, getting all the stuff off the bus, cleaning the bus. The bus is a lot of... It's a lot of work, and sometimes people
welcome to the Eagles Bus podcast.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, we're on a podcast.
It's college game day.
Yeah, everybody's...
It's like, the bus is out here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, the bar's open too.
Okay, woo!
We'll be in there.
This is great. Maybe we should do this like every Saturday for college game day.
Promote the Legion and your bus and everything.
Yeah, this is fun.
So,
we don't know who's going to knock on the door next.
Apparently it draws curiosity.
Yeah.
Imagine if it did have a pole in it.
That was the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen when it stopped.
I can't imagine that. That's funny. It's 5 o'clock somewhere all the time.
Imagine trying to pole dance while you're moving.
Apparently they were very talented.
That would be...
Well, I guess you do have a pole to hold on to, so it's not like you're freestyling.
That's a whole nother level right there.
That is funny. I mean, there's been people dancing on this while I'm driving home, and I'm like, guys, stop in red lights.
Yeah.
So
Hang on.
Yeah.
hang on.
They'll be rolling up the aisle.
Yeah.
To put hammer.
I know.
All right. Well, you got anything else you want to?
No, I love this, and I just want to thank you so much.
Oh, well,
again
like I
for
say,
this.
I thought, well, what better place for that to be
No, this
than
is
the
great.
Eagles bus?
Yeah, so there's other autographs on the bus. The bus came with some autographs.
Right.
I've gotten some of my own, and actually, here's a little teaser because this will be uploaded later. I'm actually going to a charity dinner tonight. My business is a sponsor. It's out in Gap for Brian Dawkins Foundation.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to meet Brian Dawkins tonight.
Wow.
And they called me this week and said, will you please bring your bus? So I think Brian Dawkins is going to be signing my bus
Well, there
tonight.
you go.
And he has his picture up there. I'm very excited. It's a little secret I've been holding him. But I'll just
Okay,
put it out there. It's out there.
By later today, it's out there.
It's out there. So yeah, this is a really now this is so it's like a full circle day for me. This is awesome receiving this, and now I'm going to meet Brian Dawkins later, and he's going to sign my bus. That was pretty cool. Like I was freaking out at my house on Monday getting that phone call. Are you bringing the bus? Of course I'm bringing the bus. I hung up. I was like, oh my gosh, they want the bus. I actually am to be there early tonight, and they're giving me a designated spot for the bus at this private dinner, like out on somebody's house. It's pretty cool. So I'm very excited about this. He has his own foundation, and 100% is going back. It's an I Am Able Foundation, I believe it's called, and it's about empowering the youth and helping kids in like inner cities. So yeah, I'm going to that tonight. He's speaking at it, and I'm going to meet him.
Great.
I'm very excited.
Great.
This is a great. So this is this is perfect. This is like the start of my day. Thank you so much again.
That's older than you, probably.
You
almost.
said 71.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 79.
Yeah, it is older than you.
Yeah.
Well, don't look so sad about
No. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. That's
very
great.
cool.
Yeah,
it is very cool. Thank you both
Alright.
again very,
No,
very
no.
much. I had a lot of
It was,
fun. This is awesome.
The Eagles bus is a fun hangout.
Yeah.
And it, like I say,
I
it draws
know.
attraction.
I know, 3
Yeah.
people already.
Maybe next time we can sell tickets.
Yeah.
And you can be in the background.
Mhm,
Like the
people
Today
bring
Show.
the poster
Like
boards.
Yeah,
Hi,
like the Today Show, you can be
Kelly.
out there. Or we'll set up outside.
Yeah.
Right side of the
Oh,
Eagles.
that'd be
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
We might need security. No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
well, we don't. We got Paul.
No.
Right. He's retired now. Yeah.
No.
All right, you guys, we're going to leave here.
Yeah, and thank you very much to
thank
the
you.
Legion.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks to the Legion. They gave us a place to park and a place to plug in.
Yep.
Without that, we couldn't
Yeah.
do this.
No.
So, all right, you guys, we'll see you in our next episode of the Retro Board Podcast.
Thank you. Oh, that was so much fun. That was awesome.